In the first scene, Andre, a young black man, is seen walking by himself at night along an immaculate suburban street. A little sports car approaches and begins to follow him. Andre gets spooked, says, "Fuck this shit," and changes directions to briskly walk back the way he came. When he turns to check what happened to the car, he notices that it is still parked where it was, but the door is open. A guy with a medieval helmet approaches Andre, knocks him unconscious, and drags his body to the car. Rose brings pastries and coffee to her photographer boyfriend Chris' apartment. They're about to go for the weekend to see her family, and he's worried that they don't know she's dating a black man. Chris asks whether he's the only black man she's ever dated, and she responds yes. If he could have, her dad would have voted a third vote for Obama. She tells him that, while they will almost certainly say silly things, they are really progressive. Chris reaches for a cigarette on the way to her parents' house, but Rose snatches it and tosses it out the window. Chris calls his friend Rod, a TSA employee at the local airport, and tells him to take care of his dog and not give him people food. He also flirts with Rose, and Rose thinks it's cute when Chris becomes jealous. Rod chastises Chris for dating a white woman and tells him that visiting the white folk is a terrible idea. While they're engrossed in discussion and not paying attention to the road, a deer darts out in front of the car and gets hit. They stop to look about and call the police, who inquire as to their purpose for being in the area. Rose informs them that they are on their way to see her family, who reside nearby. The police requests Chris's ID, but Rose intervenes and argues that because he wasn't driving, there's no need for that. The officer lets them leave, and Chris tells Rose that it was hot of her to stand up for him against the racist cop. Chris and Rose arrive at her parents' house. Dean takes Chris on a tour of the house and shows him old family photographs. There are also images of Rose's brother, who will be joining them later. He is a surgeon like his father, however he experienced certain difficulties. Dean claims that his father was a track runner who was beaten out by Jesse Owens to compete in the 1936 Olympics in front of Hitler. And even though that was unfortunate for his father, it was still fantastic to show that Hitler's Aryan ideals were false. The Armitages also have two black assistants on site, Walter, the groundskeeper, and Georgina, the maid/housekeeper. Dean admits that it appears horrible, two affluent white people with two black assistants, but they were hired to care for his parents, and Dean would have felt bad letting them go. Tells Chris that he would have voted for Obama a third time if he could have. In the afternoon, the family gathers for tea. Dean inquires about Chris' parents. Chris alleges that his father abandoned him when he was young and that his mother died when he was 11 after being hit by a car. Missy softly taps her spoon 3 times around a glass. Dean asks Chris if he smokes, but he says he is quitting. Then Dean offered to use Missy hypnosis, but Chris don't feel comfortable. Rose is informed by the Armitage that their huge celebration is this weekend. She is surprised and they reassure her that the date is the same each year. While pouring tea, Georgina sort of short-circuits, and Missy advises her to go lie down and recover. Jeremy, Rose's brother, shows up.